Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter, that is Connor. I'll be talking about movies on this show. And this is actually a first for us. This is a 121 catch-up, or something. I don't know what you call it yet.
Yeah, this is, you know how you always start with that with, we talk about movies on this show?
Yeah.
That's all we're doing this time.
That's all we're doing this time, yeah. This is not going to be an episode about a specific movie. This is basically, we watched some movies this week. We want to talk about them. We actually watched some of the same movies as well. But they're not movies that necessarily deserve their own episode. So we're doing kind of a sort of catch-all kind of thing. We might do this from time to time. This is not going to be a regular thing like every week. But every once in a while, if we both watched a number of movies, it's maybe... This week there's no movie news. But we'd watched a lot of movies. So we thought, we'll do a little thing just talking about the movies. And sometimes it may just be a case of, we watched so many movies that it'd be silly to try and tack this onto an end of a hour-long news show.
We've done it before where we've had, between us 8 or 9 at the end of a news show, and it's added an extra half hour.
So yeah, we're going to talk about some movies. We'll keep it pretty much spoiler-free. If we have to dip into spoilers at all, we'll warn you heavily before we do so. But I don't think we will for the most part. And we'll get diving in. So let's start off with one that we both watched.
Yes.
Let's start off with The Meg, because we both watched The Meg. Giant shark movie, Jason Statham, as you are. And it's funny, because you did you watch Rampage?
I have now.
You have now, right? Good.
I'll get to that.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because you were talking about comparing monster movies yesterday,
Yes.
and I hadn't watched The Meg, and I knew you were watching Rampage. I'd already seen Rampage, so I could still chime into that conversation when we get there. But I hadn't seen The Meg yet, so I thought I'm going to watch The Meg. I'll watch that tonight, and which was last night for the record, if you keep track. And I was like, okay, I'm curious. I'm not expecting a good movie out of it necessarily. I'm expecting a giant shark movie with Jason Statham, maybe some one-liners, maybe some silly action sequences. See how it goes. Yeah, that's all I was hoping for. Did you like The Meg?
I thought it was all right. I was underwhelmed. I don't think it's bad. I just didn't have as much fun with it as I was hoping to.
I thought it was decent. Like, kind of in the same boat. I think it was lacking in the silliness a little bit. But I oddly found myself kind of liking a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
I thought the doctor lady, not doctor lady, the scientist lady, the love interest. I thought she was actually quite likable. Her daughter was quite cute and added a little bit of heart to the film.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jason Statham was just being Jason Statham, which is either you like that or you don't like that. It's whatever.
Yeah. Rainn Wilson was being delightfully sleazy.
Yes, he was the sleazy businessman who was in charge of the whole thing. Starts off feeling very Deep Blue Sea because they're in this station in the middle of the ocean and whatnot. It's not as good as Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea is way more fun, but I thought it was okay for what it was. Like, and I think part of it's because I'd seen Rampage, and I think Rampage is way worse. So, I came out of this going, you know what, that was a decent enough kind of 6 out of 10. Watch.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it like a 6, maybe 6.5. Like, it's decent enough. It's fine. I was hoping to have a bit more fun with it, where it'd be like, okay, no, this is fun enough that it's a 7.
Yeah, sure. I get that. There's just some fun moments here or there. Some of the action, it's a very serviceable giant monster movie. Is basically what I find. I think maybe part of the problem is that it's doing a lot of the familiar beats you'd expect in a shark movie. The shark just happens to be bigger. Which, by the way, I have to raise a question here, right? So it's a bit of a running gag that they keep putting themselves in dangerous situations. It is kind of intentional, where they keep saying about how Jason Statham, you're crazy.
Come save us again.
You keep doing this, and at one point, his love interest puts herself in a shark cage, and it's this fancy shark cage that's like this reinforced like polymer plastic thingamajig, and Batwoman's very enthusiastic about it. And it's the whole thing. And all I could think was that, right, we've seen the size of this shark. This shark's mouth is big enough just to swallow that thing whole. What good is a shark cage when the mouth is big enough just to eat the whole thing?
You can choke it.
You can, but I still don't fancy the chances of the diver inside the tank.
No.
It seemed like a questionable decision to me. It's not like a really smart movie. There's a lot of things you could probably poke holes at, but this was the one that stuck out to me as they were prepping this shark cage, doing their Jaws moment, and I'm like, are you shitting me? This thing is big enough to eat this thing. It bugged me.
Yeah, I can't argue with it.
What can I say? Oh, that there's a lot of boats flipping, submersible fancy submarines, and
I
whatnot.
like the stuff with I don't want to call them combat submarines, but like the
Yeah, the little
the
pods. It's the sort of thing you would expect Batman to show up in if he was
yeah,
doing
yeah,
submarine
and
stuff.
I thought the stuff with those was kind of at the end was kind of fun.
Yeah, they were kind of saving each other. I mean, I think the highest compliment I can give it is I like the characters enough that by the time I got to the third act, I was hoping they were going to save each other. I didn't want people to
Sure.
die. There was one point in the middle where I actually, and mild spoilers for Deep Blue Sea here, I suppose, right? But the movie's like 20 years old now, so bear with me. There was a moment in the middle where I went, okay, any time now during this scene, the Sam Jackson death's happening. And I was right, it did happen because it was obvious. Like I could sense it coming. Everyone was too happy.
Yeah.
The damn thing's about to eat someone, and sure enough, it did. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not something I say you have to rush out and see. If you like the idea of a giant shark movie, then yeah, go watch it. It's
I
fun
don't think
enough.
it's something you'd regret watching. I don't
No,
regret watching. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it was what, hour 45, 2 hours? I don't know.
2 hours, but I mean, it's a perfectly serviceable thing with some likable characters, um, and
Yeah.
a couple of amusing moments and some reasonable effects. Giant
Yeah,
shark.
they're not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Jason Statham with the kid was quite a adorable little pair, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. The kid was not bad.
Because at one point, the kid, because it's quite early on where people sort of start joking that him and the love interest should or maybe
Yeah.
are a thing, like they've got an attraction, and everyone sort of starts smirking at them about it. And the kid at one point says to Jason Statham, "Hey, I think my mum likes you too," and he just looks up at because his ex-wife's in the movie as well, and he just looks up at his ex-wife and goes, "This might be the worst moment of my life," and I thought that was a funny line.
I was. Although you mentioned the ex-wife thing. Why? Why is she his ex-wife? It has no bearing on anything except that joke.
Oh
Not
no no
really.
no no no! It's his motivation for actually joining because he doesn't want to come back. Because
Yeah,
it
but
does the classic trope of he doesn't do the diving anymore. We get a flashback at the start where he goes through a really bad rescue in a submarine and some people die and that's it. Now he's just a drunk. He doesn't dive anymore, and they have to come and get him out of retirement. And the defining thing that gets him it convinces him to come on this rescue mission is that his ex-wife's one of the people who's
yeah,
trapped.
but this is really thin, poor writing of just, oh, that'll do.
It's a giant shark. What were you
I
expecting?
just, I don't know, something a little bit more. It's
Of course it's thin. I'm not defending
look,
this.
the problem is when this is all coming before the giant shark action, you're setting me off on the wrong place.
With the exception of Jaws, which is actually immaculately written, I can't think of a single movie of this type that doesn't feel as thin as this up until that point.
Which is fine if it gets more fun, but this doesn't. I mean, it gets more fun than that, but it doesn't get as fun as it could.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it for what it was. I wouldn't, rate it any higher than that. But, all right. Well, we mentioned Rampage. You
Yeah,
jump in with
well,
that.
I watched the Meg and a couple of other things, and I mentioned Rampage as well. I hadn't started watching it, but in the conversation, it came up, and I thought, you know what, the people are having opinions on this. I need one.
You may as
'Cause
well
that was
talk about
quite-
the other monster movie you watched, because I've seen both of them, so we can
Yeah, all
can
right.
compare and contrast.
We'll get to like basically. I watched Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom as well with
Yeah.
with the Meg, and I thought, well, my original plan was, well, that's two giant prehistoric monster sort of things. What can I top that off with? Rampage seemed the obvious solution in terms of just the giant creatures, but I thought I didn't really want to go through that, so I did the giant building movie instead with Skyscraper.
Yeah, I've not seen that yet, so...
Yeah, and I'll come to that in a minute. But when I was discussing that, this is how Rampage came up, and I realized that in our Facebook group there was a bit of a opinion divide. And
It wasn't
I
a
thought,
divide.
right,
There was one person named James who was arguing hard in Rampage's defense.
someone else was with him, weren't they? Saying it was all right.
I don't think so.
I thought there was, but
Matt didn't like it, and that movie was tailor-made
Matt
for
didn't-
Matt, so...
yeah, Matt didn't like it. Was it Jim that was on James's side?
He may
I'm
have
sure
been more...
someone
He may have
was.
been more neutral, but he was not in defense.
Okay, fair enough. But either way, I was like, okay, I need an opinion on this. So I watched Rampage, and I probably shouldn't have.
It needs to be way more silly. It takes itself far too
It
seriously.
got. Do you know what the problem is? It got fun for about 20 minutes at the end. It got really fun for like 20 minutes in the city, and then it kept going. And I'm like, okay, I'm sick of this now.
Everything with what's his face, a comedian.
Comedian. Oh, okay. I can picture his face. I don't know his name.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. To my
There
side. Everything with him and the military and everything about because because you got the Rock and you've got the woman who used to work at the lab and everything with her because she kind of hides why she's not there anymore. She got fired a long time ago. That's not a spoiler. You find that out.
It's like opening act.
Yeah. Um. Everything about the Rock finding that out, the drama that comes from that. I don't know. I just I felt like this is a movie that just had to be a way more silly. But unlike the Meg, which I think gives me kind of likable characters that I kind of like their relationship with each other. They're all kind of friendly for the most part, and likable enough. They feel like a team. This movie, it's just them two, and then Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who doesn't like them, and they don't even like each other that much for a lot of the movie. And I don't know, it just wasn't working for me. I feel The Rock's this weird actor who I think has got so much charisma and he's so likable, but he's in almost nothing but trash.
I will raise you a Jumanji, sir.
I've not seen Jumanji yet, but he's in a lot of trash.
He is in a lot of trash.
A lot of
but
trash.
Jumanji was pretty spectacular. It was a lot of fun.
I am shocked how unfulfilling Rampage is. Just for what you'd want from it.
Yeah.
It's unfulfilling.
Also, I really hate the trailers in retrospect. The whole, the wolf flies.
Oh, yeah.
Why the hell is that in the trailer? Other than, I mean, you want to sell your movie, obviously.
Because the trailer was mediocre and they thought, oh, they will fly and it'll be a fun moment to end it on that'll convince people that they should see it.
But the problem is I was just waiting for it.
Yeah.
And it's really late in the movie when it actually happens.
It's also a case of it makes you think, oh, the movie's going to be really crazy and wacky and all these big things, and honestly, it's not.
It's not, which is why that last 20 minute, not the last minute, that 20-minute chunk in the city is the best because that's the only bit where it goes, all right, screw it, we'll do some fun.
Yeah, it needs to be more silly. It needs to take itself less seriously and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It felt more like a Hollywood produced script than it did.
Yeah.
Like a genuine, not artistic, but someone who's just having fun with an idea. It felt like no, here's a focus group of what will be successful, and just enough seriousness here, and just enough of the Rock here, and it'll be fine. So yeah.
No, it's why Skyscraper is a much better film than Rampage. It's not a good film, but it's better.
I'll get to it. It's on the list.
Yeah. I mean, I'll keep Skyscraper brief. It's Die Hard, isn't it? I mean, it's another Die Hard one. You get what you expect, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's nothing special. Some enjoyable enough bits. Like I say, The Rock has charisma, which he gets to show in that movie a bit more. So there's stuff going for it there.
Yeah. Rampage is like a 4.5 or something like that, maybe a 4.
Yeah, I'm around 4.5, 4. Yeah.
Wasn't feeling that one. But you also watched Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
I did, and I did this with after the Meg, thinking, oh, maybe this will pick me up, and it didn't. It was another one where, again, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's fine, but it left me underwhelmed. Especially, I really liked the last one.
Joe's fire about Jurassic World is I ended up liking it quite a bit once it got going, and admittedly, it's partly because it gets silly, right? But once it gets to the mansion and it's like a Dino Crisis movie with like dinosaurs running around a mansion,
yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I got a lot more into it in that part. The first half's a bit more
too much other shite.
Yeah, it's weird that there's like a Hammond duplicate who's basically Hammond, but he's not Hammond.
Yeah,
just so we can have a Hammond.
Do you know what was weird? The grandfather.
Yes.
His name. You won't have caught this when you watched it. This only stuck out to me now. is Ben Lockwood, which, if anyone who doesn't know, is the name of a character on Supergirl this season.
Yeah, it's a villain
I
on
was
Supergirl.
yes, yes, and Sam Witwer was better. Sam Witwer would have improved this movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed Jurassic World. Me and Matt did a review of it, and I was pretty positive, despite the fact that I think the script's a complete mess.
It's such a mess. I still ultimately kind of give it like a 6. It kind of falls down around the Meg for me in that it's kind of a toss-up if you ask me which one I prefer for different reasons. I think the Meg's much more coherent. It's just not as fun as it could be, whereas Jurassic World has a lot more fun, but is such a mess around that.
Yeah, Jurassic World is definitely, objectively from a technical standpoint, in terms of script writing, in terms of putting things together, it is way worse. But I think it actually might be more fun once we actually get to the silliness.
I think it is, which is why they kind of even out for me in that, yeah, one's more fun, but one is clearly better.
I think they're both, I think just for my taste, they're both watchable, but they're not movies that I'd recommend just carte blanche.
No, same. I agree that yeah, okay, I don't regret watching either of them, but I could have done better with my time.
All right, so I watched I caught up on another movie this week. I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is notable because it's the first MCU movie that I didn't see in the theater out of all of them.
Me too, and I still haven't.
And I'm sure you'll catch up at some point.
I'll watch it before. Is the next one Captain Marvel?
Yes, that's
I'll watch it before Captain Marvel.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's not even like this was one that I was looking forward to the least. Like I was definitely not looking forward to Doctor Strange. I definitely wasn't feeling that one before I saw it. This one I was like, well, it'll probably be similar to the first one, same director, same type of humor, and I enjoyed the first one well enough. I mean, the first Ant-Man might have the worst villain in the MCU, but
it's down there, yeah.
I was curious, and I think what's weird about this one is that I think I did enjoy watching it at home more than I probably would have done had I went to see it at the theater.
Yeah,
I think it works better feeling like a part of the overall. It's kind of like one of my underwhelming complaints about Civil War when I saw it, which is still pretty good overall. It just had this weird underwhelming feeling of just being part of a whole as opposed to being a full thing. And this Ant-Man movie felt like that to me because the plot for the main characters is basically they're trying to get the original Wasp out of the quantum realm, right?
Sure.
That's what their goal is for the movie. And there's some knock-on effects from Civil War because Scott's been under house arrest because he helped Captain America in Germany, and there's some great stuff. I think the plot. I mean, the villains are better than they were in the first movie. I still wish I cared more about them, but you've got what's her face from Killjoys as one of the baddies.
Yes,
as Ghost. She has quite a cool effect on her because she has this sort of phasing power, but she's constantly out of sync. So she's constantly. It's almost like they've got like these ghost versions of her constantly sort of like rippling from her, like kind of phasing
cool.
in and out. It's a cool visual. You've got her. You got Walton Goggins, who's always a villain. He's a sleazy rich villain in this case, but he's still Walton Goggins. The man's typecast to no end.
It's funny. You said to me the other day, I was, oh, he's in it. I went, oh yeah, he playing anyone interesting? He goes, take a guess. I went, is he playing a dick bag?
He's a dick bag. But you got the supporting cast back. I think I like the main cast a lot. I like Evangeline Lilly. I like Paul Rudd in here, Michael Douglas. I think the biggest star for me in this movie, bizarrely, is actually his daughter, because she's not really involved in the main plot per se, but there's a little bit more of her. What's there is really sweet. His relationship with her really gives the movie a heart, and it's probably the best part of the movie. And it made me excited for aging her up soon, so that we can get Cassie being an ant person. Cool.
An ant person.
You know what I mean? A young Avenger, if we're going to call it that. Because there was rumours that there was an aged up, like a 5 years older one cast for the next Avengers, I would say.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Which would mean she's, she's like 14 now, or whatever. Like, that's more of a...
Get some young Avengers going.
Get into the mix of it and actually put herself in danger kind of thing. But she gives it a heart. The jokes are typically pretty funny. Lawrence Fishburne's in there, he's pretty good. It's just this weird thing where the plot does feel like an episode of TV in between the major plot beats. It feels like, okay, it's important to the characters that they're getting the original Wasp back, but the the overall plot doesn't feel like it had. I mean, it's a two double-edged sword, because on the one hand, I actually really like that the world's not at stake in this one. I like that it's not villains try to blow up the planet or whatever, and I like that it's more personal. But on the other hand, it feels like the stakes aren't high enough.
Yeah. I know this might be one that feels more important in retrospect. 'Cause I know there's been hints that the quantum realm and all the stuff that it deals with in this will be quite important going forward.
I think it's this weird case where what I really mean by the stakes not been high enough. It's not that I want it to be the world at stake. I just want it to feel like
something matters.
Yeah, like it's a personal story, which is great. But the personal story doesn't have the weight to it to make it feel like it's dramatic enough on its own, right? And I guess that's just because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a bit lighter and fluffier, but obviously with one or two notable exceptions where it did go a bit darker.
Yeah.
But it just So that'd be my thing. I will say the mid-credit scene did make me laugh quite a bit because I was kind of like waiting for it to happen throughout the movie.
Okay.
And the mid-credit scene finally did it, and you can probably guess what I was waiting for if you really think about it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay then.
Including you. You could guess it. I won't make you
I'm
guess
sure
it.
I could, but I won't.
But yeah. But it was okay. It was a solid 7. It was a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. But what I did like about the action in this one though, when it got going, was they used the size changing tech a lot more on objects. So in the trailer, for example, you see like her Wasp throw a salt shaker and then enlarge it to like trap the guy. There's moments of that. There's stuff where they shrink in large cars, shrinking in large buildings. There's more inventiveness with that stuff. I almost wish there was more of it because it's also, I'd say, all in the heart that the daughter and the father-daughter relationship brings. It's probably the second best part of the movie.
That's what makes it a bit more unique rather than just let's punch a dude, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that's fun. And then giant ants doing
always for the win.
Ridiculous stuff. Yeah. Also, Bobby Carnival's the ex-husband. Not the ex-husband. He's the new husband to the ex-wife, who's played by Judy Greer. And I was like, I know who both of these people are now. This is exciting.
Yeah. Did you not know either of them before?
I knew who Judy Greer was because, if nothing else, I knew her from Arrested Development.
Right.
It was funny. She went on to be in the first Jurassic World, or she was in that first. I think they were both the same year actually. Ant-Man and Jurassic World. I think they were both 2015.
Yeah, I think Jurassic World might have been just about first.
By a month. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty similar though.
Yeah, that's right. But I'd forgotten it was her when I sat down to watch this. But I know who Bobby Carnival is now, thanks to Mr. Robot and Homecoming. So I was like, that's
nice to see his face.
Nice to see him. What's funny actually is, in the first movie she was constantly at Paul Rudd's throat because he's a terrible father and all that. In this one, she's constantly sticking up for him because she thinks the FBI's harassing him, and it's just an interesting twist to her character. It was enjoyable. I don't know. So yeah, it's fine. It's solid. It's a good time. I don't regret waiting for it to come to home release though.
No, that's fair. I don't feel any need to brush out and watch it. I mean, I might just because I'm trying to hit targets for the end of the year. But
this is not mean to say that I'll be waiting for other Marvel movies. Like, I'm sure I'm going to see Captain Marvel in theaters. I'll definitely be seeing Avengers 4 in theaters.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. Well, I liked Infinity War, so I'm actually quite optimistic about Avengers 4.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
We'll see. What else did you have that?
I got one more before we've got the one that we both watched, which was Christopher Robin.
Oh yeah, I'll go to sleep. You just do your thing.
This was a delightful movie. It was, it's an older Christopher Robin. We start actually with his farewell as a child. The last time he was there with Pooh and all the others, and it's sweet. And then he's older. He's got this job. It's a bit shit. He's being told to, you've got to find 20% of a cut, or we're gonna have to fire people. And he doesn't really want to, so he has to cancel his weekend. He was going back to the countryside with his family, his wife and kid, for the weekend.
That sounds a lot like a Lex Luthor plot from Smallville, but you continue.
It does a bit, yeah. When you put all that, but yeah, he has to stay at home and work basically, and the wife, Hayley Atwell, is not happy about this at all, and so they go off to the countryside, and he's there, and he's like, well, shit, and then Pooh just shows up. He comes looking. He's like, "Well, I'm here now. I guess I must be needed to help."
Right, so this is a movie about a man losing his marbles and going psychotic and imagining characters.
That is addressed. Like, because the last thing his wife says to him before she goes off for the weekend is like, no, you keep putting this much time into this shitty job, you're gonna crack. And then Pooh shows up and he's like, what the hell? You're not real. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, nope, I've cracked. She was right. It's gone. And then there's a few jokes about that later on in the movie in the climax as well. So it does actually play with that.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun though, because you have all the Pooh characters come out into London and into the real world, which is a little bit different to usual.
As someone who has no attachment to Winnie the Pooh and isn't even sure they can name all the characters, would I give a shit about anything in this?
No, but not for those reasons. I think it's just a little bit too whimsical for you.
Yeah. You know, I don't like the whimsy.
But I don't think having an attachment to Winnie the Pooh has any bearing on the enjoyment. This is just you in particular.
Is there any more? There's Piglet and Tigger. Is there another one?
There's like tons of them. There's you got Roo, you got Owl, you got Eeyore. Eeyore's the main one, of course.
Is he?
Well, out of the after, so you've got Pooh, Tigger and Piglet, and then Eeyore is in that tier with them.
What animal's he?
He's a donkey. He's a really depressed donkey. You'd like Eeyore. You'd get along with Eeyore.
I'll take your word for it. I don't recall no donkey, but
okay.
There you go.
But,
they don't make a lot of clothes with this donkey on it. Whereas Tigger and Piglet, I feel like I see just in life around.
No, fair enough. They make a few, but I would say what probably my biggest criticism with the movie overall really is that I understand why the wife's like, hey, you got to spend time with your family. Come on, just stop being shit. She really demonizes him for spending all this time at work, but it's really hard to feel. And he's like, no, but I've got to, and it's really hard to root against him when he's going, no, I've got to spend a weekend figuring this out. Otherwise, 30 people are going to get fired. He's doing it for these really good reasons. Ultimately, he's like, no, I'm trying to save people's jobs. And it's like, well, I should be rooting for that, and obviously I should also be rooting for him to spend time with his family. But it's a little bit conflicting.
Don't dangle or balance on the tightrope as well as they should.
No, they don't. But I mean, that's probably my biggest critique. Otherwise, it's very fun and heartwarming. It's like a solid 7.5, enjoyable.
Okay. And then to wrap up, then we both watched Teen Titans Go to the movies this week, which I have never seen an episode of this TV show because it ran for 5 seasons, has like a ridiculous 200 something episodes.
Yeah, they're like 10 minutes the episodes.
Are they 10 minutes? Okay, I assumed
each episode is split into an A and B.
Okay, all right.
But I think after like the first couple of seasons, they abandoned that and just made them individual episodes for the count.
Okay. Regardless, there's 5 seasons, so I mean, I assume that'll add up to about 5 seasons of a regular full season of a 22-minute show.
Sitcom, yeah.
But regardless, so this is your young hip Teen Titans that have a bit of an attitude and very, very meta, tongue-in-cheek, and full of humour. And the movie revolves around Robin wanting a movie about himself because everyone's getting a movie. That's the meta joke, right? Is that all these superheroes are getting movies, but there's no Robin movie. He's upset there's an Alfred movie. That's in the trailer. That's not spoiling a joke. It's in the trailer. And they basically decide, okay, they try a bunch of different things to get big enough to get a movie. They try getting an arch nemesis and Deathstroke. They try maybe going back in time and messing with some things. I won't get too specific on that for spoiler's sake. And they try a bunch of stuff. You got Kristen Bell as a voice in there as the movie director who's making all these movies. Yes. You got Will Arnett as Deathstroke. You got Nicolas Cage as Superman of all things. And that's your premise. So you liked it, of course.
I loved it.
Yeah.
This is delightful. I'm a big fan of the show. Anyway, I always say it's always sunny for kids in that it's just this group of awful people who do awful things to each other and also just to everyone else, just for our own personal gain. Basically, hey, I want a pizza. I don't care if it screws up the rest of the city.
Yes. So I'd never seen the show. I came out of this completely blind, not really knowing. All in the trailer. I'd seen the trailer. I thought, the trailer looks kind of amusing. I'll give it a try. I quite liked it. It was good.
I have a
It
question.
was funny. Yeah.
How many points did you knock off for too many songs?
Do you know what's funny? There's like 3 songs in the first like 20 minutes, and I was like, I don't know about this. And then it went a long time without one.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, all right, you're winning me back over. Honestly, most of the songs didn't bother me because most of them had plot advancement in the songs themselves. There's one that bugged the shit out of me though, because it's exactly the sort of thing I hate about musicals, where it's just making the same point for 3 minutes, and I'm like, I get it, move on.
Is it the upbeat one?
It's the one where there's like a jazz band in the clouds, and it's just them riding clouds for 3 minutes.
Is that the one where Starfire's playing the sax on the roof of the van?
Eventually, that's the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that song. I've had that song stuck in my head for like since I watched this movie.
No. That one bugged the shit out of me. At least the other ones had like visual gags in them or advanced the plot or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that one just felt like it just paused the movie so they could sing a stupid song. Whereas most of the other ones, it felt like they came at dramatic points that moved things forward, or they had gags. You know, one of them had like Robin reenacting famous comic book covers and things like that, and whatever. There's a lot of DC references in this. Some of them are quite obscure, actually.
There is, and they even play with that intentionally. Like, no one's gonna care about this one.
Yeah. So that was fun. Some dark humor. I won't say what it is for spoiler's sake, of course, but the final line of the movie did actually get the biggest laugh out of me.
Oh, okay.
Mainly just because I imagine parents actually taking kids that are fairly young to see this, and that being the final moment really cracked me up.
Yeah.
But let's just say it pushes some envelopes.
I'm gonna say that the bit with Aquaman was darker than I expected.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I was down for it, don't get me wrong. But I was like, okay, cool. This is a kid's movie, but sure.
There's some dark jokes in there, for sure. There's some neat cameos from things that aren't from DC. A couple of them, in fact. Which are pretty entertaining. Which is
There's one
nice.
very notable one, isn't there?
I'd say there's 2 notable ones.
Okay.
There's one that meant a lot to me because of my tastes.
Right. Okay.
But actually, there's another one as well. There's music that kicks in at one point because they're doing something from another movie.
Yeah, that is a little great reference. It's not really overt and in your face with it. It's just plays the theme. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a silly movie. It has silly logic. Robbins a complete self-obsessed dickbag who wants a movie, and
that is the show in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Robin is a self-obsessed dickbag.
Well, the reason why I say that though is because I actually feel like some of the other characters are oddly on point. I mean, they're aged down, sure, but Starfire and Beast Boy kind of still feel like Starfire and Beast Boy for the most part.
Raven too.
And Raven, yeah. Tara Strong, of course, is Raven.
Yeah.
I like Raven. Raven's really cynical. She's nice.
Raven is my spirit animal.
Starfire was cracking me up quite a bit. My favourite line in the movie, actually, not the funniest line was at the end, but my favourite line in the movie might be Starfire saying, "This thing smells of the fish," which I just thought was really funny.
It's a classic Starfire line, isn't it?
It's one of those things where, if you compare it to Titans, right, the show, I don't have the same effect on me that you have, where it instantly makes the show 10 million times worse. But I will say, one of the key things that's missing with Starfire in that show is that there's none of that, she's a fish out of water because she's an alien, trying to fit in things. She just seems to know things, it's fine.
Yeah. I said when I watched it, it made me hate Titans more. And the reason for that is the whole point of this movie is, self-acceptance, being okay with who you are. And it does that on a meta level with, hey, we're doing Teen Titans Go. Let's just be stupid and do stupid shit and be our own thing. And Titans, and I love it for that. And then Titans goes, no, we're gonna do the grim, dark, gritty thing that everyone else is doing. That's how we be successful, right?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if that's doing it to fit into a crowd, though.
I think it's doing it because that's what DC's image is.
For some reason.
Yeah. Exactly.
For some, I don't know why that's the image right now, but for some reason it is. But yeah, so I don't really agree with that. I feel like that's boiling it down to really simple.
Fair. It was just my feelings after I watched it. I mean,
That no, I mean I had fun with this. It's goofy and laughable and silly, but I think what makes it work for me though is there's a right amount of wit in the jokes. It's not just something stupid for the stupid sake.
no, it's got some clever jokes in there.
When you compare it to It's Always Sunny and how kind of deviant they are, and I guess they're not as deviant as It's Always Sunny, but it's that kind of twist in the humor that makes it work. That makes it work, I think, for older audiences.
Yeah.
It's not just kiddie humor. There's like a really dark moment where Raven will trap someone in another dimension with her powers, and then when you think they're getting out later, she'll just close the portal again, and that's it. It's fine.
Yeah, but like I said, that's kind of the show in a shell. Like, there's an episode really early on. It's like, one of like the first like 5 or 6, I think, where Raven wants the tower and the apartment to herself to just watch some TV and have some time to herself. So she sends the rest of them on a quest to like all these like super dangerous places so that they can like get a sandwich. It's like the stupid thing that she does. And it's like, no, I'm going to put all my friends in like horrific mortal danger just so I can watch some TV.
Yeah.
That's so Always Sunny.
I mean, it is, except in It's Always Sunny, they don't have the tools to do that exact plot.
No, but if they could, that's exactly what those characters would do.
Yeah. But it's missing Charlie, the Charlie character who they all dump on.
That's fair, yeah.
It's missing the scapegoat character. It's missing that
It
one.
It is a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, so nah. It's delightful. It's fun. For some reason, people thought I was going to hate this.
I think they thought maybe it'll be a little bit too whimsical, a little bit too musical to points.
There's too many songs. No, that is my biggest complaint. Is that I think it should cool down on the songs, but the wit is the sense of humor is actually quite mischievous.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say the humor is whimsical at all.
I think just in premise, it's whimsical, rather than actually in terms of what the humor actually is.
I see, whimsical to me is more like Christopher Robin. It's more of a heartwarming whimsy thing.
Heartwarming. That's what you don't like. You don't like feeling.
No, I like heartwarming when it's not whimsical.
So we've narrowed down to the subsection of whimsical that you don't like.
Heartwarming when it's in the face of like grim is more powerful because it's actually up against something.
You don't like heartwarming when it's just heartwarming because it is.
Depends on the context, but combine it with whimsy and I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, I really love this movie.
It's good. You probably like it more than I do, but it's good.
I'm sure I do.
So there you go. That has been our first ever catch-up movie episode of 121 Gigawatts. We will probably do more. I imagine there'll probably be another similar thing, if nothing else, sometime around the end of the year, maybe just after the end of the year, when we're catching up on movies a lot. For stuff that doesn't warrant a full episode to themselves.
There's usually a couple of weeks off from the news at the end of the year because there just isn't news those weeks. So typically we'll probably still watch some movies over those weeks, and if we've got no news episodes, that'll be a perfect time to do one of these.
Yeah. So there you go. So thank you very much for watching or listening. If you want to support the channel and the show and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and you can get some stuff early, you get some bonuses, some extras, all that kind of thing. But you can do that over there. You can also get us on Twitter at @mailed_fuzz for channel updates. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.